Welcome to my leadership series where I interview leaders that I love and that have impacted my life. And today I'm chatting with Tami Sparks, who's a seasoned certified empowerment and relationship coach with over a decade of experience specializing in helping 40 plus divorcees with their dating strategies. So she's a successful entrepreneur managing multiple thriving businesses. Includes running a consulting business that provides local disability job placement services, specializing in connecting disabled veterans and job applicants with employment prospects. She's a results-oriented accountability coach dedicated to helping individuals achieve their goals and unlock their full potential. And she's currently my accountability coach and someone I connected with instantly. She's also a resident of Pensacola, Florida. And her coaching approach is rooted in empowerment, guiding her clients toward transformative breakthroughs and fostering healthier, more fulfilling relationships. And her passion for coaching is evident in the results her clients achieve under her guidance. Outside of work, Tami's a two-time back-to-back champion in competitive ballroom dancing. And she's also been, I don't know if you still are, the lead singer of a band. And in addition to that, also a degree in sign language interpretation, which I found fascinating. So Tami, I'm super stoked to chat with you today and about your business, life, anything that comes up, and the wisdom pearls that you've acquired over the years. So welcome.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want
Thank
to
you.
add to my stuff? What are you still dancing?
I know there's so much. There's so much. So no, I'm not a lead singer anymore. That ended last year. Probably very beneficially because I've been super, super busy with other things. So, but it's been fun. I've been actually lead singer in two bands. So, both different genres, 180 degrees apart from each other. But what a fun experience. So, yeah.
That sounds so cool. And a fun outlet, of course, as well to everything that you do in business, right? So that's the thing. We're
Right.
multifaceted individuals, right? So
Yes.
so share a little bit about your business journey. I mean, you've obviously been an entrepreneur for many years. So what's your drivers? And why divorcees?
So I started my business, about 10 years ago. I actually had a business in Colorado that I help people with disabilities find employment. I was going through a nasty divorce myself. Um, that kind of propelled me forward with getting more clients and so forth, right? And then I had an injury, believe it or not. I had a back injury from a little kid pulling me down in a school building, elementary school. And it was a deaf child that I was doing sign language interpreting for. That path led me on a journey, if you will, of pay attention and start taking better care of yourself and stop doing, and going, and you're not on your right path, right? So in that journey of the next year, just trying to figure out what my injury was and talking to doctors and specialists, right? Um, I started to come across intuitive people, energy workers, people with essential oils, right? The whole woo-woo side of my life now that didn't exist at that time. Having said that, I met a young lady who talked to me about becoming a life coach. She says, with what you do, life coaching could be hugely instrumental with these families to help them set short-term and long-term goals, right? And I thought, wow, I never thought about that, right? So I looked into it, joined the program. It took me a year of taking classes and courses, and I got my certification and launched my life coaching piece of my business as well. And it grew leaps and bounds. Fast forward, my dad got sick and I moved to Florida about 7 years ago to help take care of him. And my coaching business kind of sat on the back burner while I did that. I opened a second office here in Pensacola, Florida to help people with disabilities find jobs. So I'm running two different states, two different places, right? And COVID happened. So I closed my office after 10 almost 12 years of that office. Went ahead and closed that office, kept this office open. And during COVID, I had a lot of people just start to come to me And
Mm.
a lot of them were divorced people. Or my other personal favorite struggle was I lived with a narcissist for 3 years and recovered from that, right? So everything happens for a reason. So that's a huge group of people that I work with as well to either figure out how to get your exit strategy for that or how to recover from it, right? So I have a specific program for recovering from a narcissist. But over time, it was interesting because I had more people and more people come to me, and I thought, wow, this is a sign I need to open my coaching business back. There's a need. And so I kind of looked into rebranding, hired a business coach, relaunched it, and here I am, wonderfully, hugely successful. But divorced people over 40, especially women, I've lived that. That's been me. I've walked in their shoes, right? And if there's anything that I can do to empower them to break the historical patterns of continuously attracting that wrong person so they can finally get that relationship they desire, that's my goal, right? If there's anything I can do to help them go, please don't go down this road, here's why. If you do A, B, and C, you can avoid all this pain and suffering. And I wish somebody would have told me back then what I know now, because it would have saved me a ton of time and a ton of heartache, right? And that feeling of I'm not good enough. Whereas now I know I'm damn good enough, right? I'm more than enough. And anybody that I would be with would be blessed to have me. And I
Yeah.
want all my clients to have that mentality of I am a blessing to whomever it is that is in my partnership, in my relationship with them. So that was kind of my driving force to get there.
That sounds really interesting. And like you said, often we learn by experiencing things, but that's the power of coaching in many ways, right? That you
Yes,
can get access to the shortcuts, learning from other
exactly.
people. And even if your journey is different, you still get wisdom pearls from other people that have gone through
Yep.
similar, experiences. So that's, yeah, can relate to several of those.
Hmm.
So, what are, I guess what are some of the insights from working with, your clients? What are like, what are the biggest things that you see in your business when people come to you?
A lot of people who come to me just they've exhausted all efforts, if you will,
Mm,
right? And they don't know where to go. They've done therapy for umpteen months to umpteen years, right? And it's not worked.
mm,
And, there's a reason behind that because we are different than counselors and therapists. There are some really good counselors and therapists out there. There are some really interesting ones who just keep you stuck so they can get paid, right? And that's not my objective. Money is not my thing. I put people before the almighty dollar, right? So my goal is to help get them unstuck. These are individuals that are stuck. They can't figure it out. No matter what they do, where they go, who they talk to, they just cannot move forward.
mm,
And a lot of it starts with a mindset kind of a thing, right? It's the self-esteem and it's the fact that we as women over time have learned to just accept, even if it's the bare minimum, we're just told to accept it and swallow our pride and suck it up, right? Put your big girl panties on and move forward. I love that statement because interestingly enough, that's not good enough to survive and get what I want, need, and desire. So when I can work with somebody who goes, I don't even know what I want, need, and desire. Okay, well, let's start with what kind of eggs do you like for breakfast, right? Because you might not even know something as simple as that. And there are a lot of my clients that are that way. Well, I was with this man and we always had scrambled eggs together.
mm.
Okay, but what do you like? I don't know. So it's unfortunate, but that's just where we as women in society have come a long way from the past to forward and current, right? Where it's be what your partner wants you to be. Don't expect above and beyond what you feel you deserve because you probably won't get it. So we always just accept less than what we feel we deserve. So when those individuals come to me, it's like shining a light in a dark space
Mm.
because I'm that person that goes, screw that mentality.
Yeah.
You can have whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
I can teach you how to manifest it. I can teach you how to attract it. And I can also show you the fact that you absolutely 100% deserve it.
Yeah.
right? So it's a huge transition to see those people coming to me just broken or frustrated or just to the point that they're just like, I just don't even know anymore. To get them moving forward, even 30 days out, to see a huge transition with so many of my clients is such a blessing.
Yeah, that's quite the journey. That is so interesting because also like when I look at business, right, where you have the same dynamics in many ways when you're like I have spent my career, being often one of the few women, and especially when I was working with leaders, it was me and the boys, which worked
Right.
fine for me, but it's still, I can see things in retrospect, right? Like because it was all hinged on who you reported to. If you had a boss that was great, that had your back,
Yes.
big experience difference. And also when you saw also how incompetent men were promoted and women that were the backbone, they were at the
Yep.
same level, right? And it's interesting because you see it playing out in the world as well, right? Where you have cultures where women are not worth anything, and then yet life would not exist without women. So it's so ridiculous,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, crazy things. So, what would you say, like, if we go into your business as such, like, what are, because you've had several businesses and been successful.
Mhm.
So, what would you say are, from your perspective, some of the essential traits and qualities that you need to have to succeed in business?
You have to be a self-starter. I don't care what kind of business you have. It could be flipping burgers in a food truck. It could be being a seamstress, right? It could be, you know, big, bold, and bodacious, whatever that looks like. You still have to be a self-starter. You also have to be accountable to yourself. And I think that's very hard for a lot of people to be raw, genuine, and authentic and honest with yourself, even when it's ugly, when things are slow and you just go, man, what am I going to do? Right? You have to be genuinely authentic to think outside the box and hold yourself accountable and make yourself move forward. You can't get down in the dumps and then just quit, right? Because that's not going to pay your bills and it's not going to keep your business afloat. And I think the third thing is be creative, right? But be creative with gratitude. I'm all about manifesting and law of attraction. So I don't chase the almighty dollar. Even if the dollar's not coming in, I know that eventually at some point that dollar will be there and I'm always taken care of and provided for. So I come at it from an outside the box of, okay, I've done this. What's my next adventure, right? What's my next thing I want to do? What's the next thing I want to do to change the world and make things better and make people better and help them? So I do a lot of outside the box thinking and then, kind of process it and figure out, all right, do I want to manifest this and make it happen? Is it something viable that people really want to? I mean, yes, I might want to do this with them, but is that something that people actually want to do, right? I'll even bounce it off a few people that I know. Hey, what if you could have? Sometimes they say, yes, that's amazing. And sometimes they're like, well, so, but it's that creative thinking. And I'm always every day expressing gratitude. Morning and night, I'm always thankful and grateful for my clients, my business, my partners, my friends, those people that I network with. There's so much out there and there's so much business for everyone. So also don't have that single focus, like this is all I can do. This is my niche. There's so much out there that you can partner with other people and collaborate to still help people on a bigger level, right? So those would be my recommendations for anybody that's in business.
And so spinning on that, like, so how have you stayed motivated through the highs and lows yourself?
Mm. So the highs are really great because you've got tons of money coming in, tons of business, but at the same time, it's also overwhelming, right? Um, when you're in that space of making between ten and $25,000 a month, it's freaking phenomenal. But it's scary because you've got so much you have to do, right? So when those highs are happening, I practice a lot of self-care. I'm very, very disciplined about having my Fridays are my CEO day. I might work up to half a day, but the rest of the day, you'll usually find me sitting on the beach. And I'm not necessarily around a lot of people. I'll take my little umbrella and my chair and I'll take a little cooler with a charcuterie board and maybe some champagne, and I will go sit out on the beach for a few hours. And then I do brunch with my girlfriends over the weekend, or we'll do a travel trip somewhere like a girls trip or whatever. But I do a lot of downtime Friday, Saturday, Sunday just to regenerate and just kind of, put my brain at ease and disconnect from the world, if you will. So
Yeah.
that's very, very big for me. When it's lows, um, positive affirmations work really well for a lot of people. I'm not one of them. I mean, there are, but I'm very big into manifesting and getting in the right headspace and making sure that I maintain that headspace, no matter what the situation. Um, Even when I'm having relationship issues myself, even as a relationship coach, right? That's my biggest thing is I've got to get my head on right, and I've got to clearly communicate my expectations in this relationship, because if I don't, it messes up my energy with my clients, because I have to practice what I preach, right? And I live that every single day. So it's a mindset thing of stay in the same space of gratitude and an ability to manifest, right? And be able to see the big picture long term as well. That's what tends to keep me motivated.
So you mentioned energy. So how would you explain energy from your perspective, especially when you're talking about a person having an energy of
Mhm.
X, if you will?
Sure. So everyone has energy. We all have it. You get the best way to describe it is I tell people to always trust their gut. God gave you intuition, whether you realize it or not, even on a basic level of just the baby walking phase. You walk into a room and you just feel like, wow, this space is great. Everybody's so happy. Or you walk into a room where people have been arguing and you just know it's heavy. It feels like, oh, this is very awkward, right? That's energy. We all have energy. We all change and swap out our energy depending on what our emotions are, our mental capacity, our mental status, what we do to interact with each other, right? Everything has energy. So if you are oblivious to it, start paying attention when you walk into a room. How does it feel? When you walk into a store, how does it feel? When you're around that person that gives you the, as my mother calls it, the heebie-jeebies, right? And you go, oh, I don't really think I need to be around that person. I'm going to go this direction. That's energy. That's the easiest way I can describe that.
That's a great explanation, so to speak. So when interview clients, if you will, what are the things that you look for or look at to see if you're a match, if you will?
So I am not everyone's cup of tea. I always admit that up front. I am a very results driven individual. What does that mean? That means I give you the tools, but I expect you to do the work. So I'm very big on my accountability coaching side. Some people will tell you, oh, that's a little intimidating. I just want somebody to hold my hand and make me feel good and give me positive affirmations. And that's great. And those coaches are wonderful human beings that provide that service. That is not me, because I'm still just making you feel good about the problem that you still haven't solved, right? Your goal is to come to me and pay me to help you fix whatever is broken in your life so that you can move forward. That means you're going to have to do some work, and you may have to have some tough love, right? With compassion. I always show all my clients compassion, but I am that person that will call you out if you're not doing what you're doing. And then you can make a choice whether you're going to move forward or not. So I'm looking for individuals that are truly invested in what it is they want to accomplish. I have a few questions when I meet with individuals that help me narrow that down. If they're really and truly committed, or if they're on the cusp but not quite sure, or if they're just all over the place. And then I'm also looking for those people who are resilient and they can take that constructive feedback, but embrace it and know that this is for their greater good and for the betterment of who they are and what they're going to become, right? I'm not looking for somebody who's just going to break down and cry every single time. There's nothing wrong with breaking down and crying, but generally for me, it means you're not in a receptive space for me to work with you and coach you and get you the results that you want. I don't take 6 to 9 months to for people to start seeing the results. Most of my clients within 30 days see results. And immediately come back to me consistently and go, my God, why didn't I do this 6 months to a year ago? Why did I wait this long? And it's just because you weren't in that space yet. So that's generally my criteria of figuring out who's a good fit for me.
Cool. So have you used any, or do you still use or use assessments? And which ones are your favorite ones? And why, I guess.
Oh, my favorite one to start with every new client is the wheel, right? The
Mhm.
wheel of life, as I call it, because I love to see where they are as far as what's working well in their life and where are their lows? Because there's always a pattern associated with. And so then I can tell which area to focus on starting with them because the other ones come in tandem, like they follow. It's just like a stair step, right? As soon as you get one, the next one comes in and then the next one, right? But I'm also fluid, even though I use that assessment. I'm very fluid with my clients because some days it's okay, we're going to come in and we're going to work on your ability to effectively communicate with others because you feel you're lacking in that department. And they may come in and life just sucked that week. And all of a sudden that train got derailed, right? So that's fine. I'm very fluid with the way that I work with my clients. They all get homework and you're expected to do it. And the reason for it is to reinforce and carry forward what you're already learning, right? So, but that's probably my favorite. I don't do a lot of assessments. I've just been doing this so long and I'm very good at what I do. That's not arrogance, it's just confidence because I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And everybody is different. So I tend to kind of get away from the assessment side of it and focus on just that person sitting in front of me and develop an individual one-on-one plan with that person, not a cookie cutter approach.
Cool. So, do you ever listen to meditations or visualizations? I know that you talked about manifestation, so to speak. So, to just do goal setting,
Mhm.
desires, tapping into, what you want.
Absolutely. I just finished an Amanda Francis book. I don't know
Mhm.
if I can cuss on your show, so I'm good.
Yeah.
But it is called Rich as Fuck, and
Mhm.
it is amazing. It is an amazing book. You can get it in print. I am not a print reading person because I'm always on the go, so I'm all about audiobooks, right?
Yeah.
That probably is my literally I had kind of a brief minute of my manifesting mojo stopped last year at the beginning of the year, almost a
Mhm.
year ago. And I kind of had like a brief little crisis of, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? And somebody told me, oh, my money mindset coach told me about this book. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to go check out this book. So I literally went and downloaded the book and every freaking day I listened to it. I listened to it. I did my homework. I had a complete journal specifically allocated just for that book. And I mean, what I learned was I was actually elevating levels in my manifestation capabilities, right? So I was stuck for a minute, but it's because instead of visualizing, if you will, I had to go into the feeling mode. I was at a whole different level of being able to manifest things. So my other one is You Are a Badass.
Mhm.
So a lot of my VIP clients get that book for free from me. I automatically send it to them in the mail because it's just an amazing book. You can get it on Audible as well, but it's just my gift to them because it really reinforces why you are amazing and that you can be a badass at your own level and get whatever it is your heart desires. So those are probably my two that are my go-to. But Amanda Francis has her own. She's got a YouTube channel and she puts out a lot of stuff with affirmations, a lot of little 10-minute spiels of just getting your head in the right space. So I love to save her stuff and listen to her stuff all the time.
Cool. Yeah, that reminds me of that meditation that went viral. I think the fuck you meditation. I love
Yes.
that one. I've shared that one with so
I
many
love that
people.
one.
And people that get offended by the F word, whatever.
Right?
But because that one makes me laugh so hard because it's all about this. We make things so significant,
Yes,
unnecessarily. So instead of like, hey, lighten up,
exactly.
have fun. So,
Right, right. Life's too
uh,
short to get hung on a word.
yeah, yeah. No, I'll check out those two actually. So that sounds fun.
Yeah, they're
So
amazing.
if you were to, how would you explain inner gold? What would you say that that is? If you were talking about a person that they have like inner gold, what their inner gold is, how would you explain that?
Like finding the gold within, is that what you're referring to? So the way I teach that to people, believe it or not, is to find the gold in others before you can figure it out in yourself. Because
Mhm.
it's actually much easier to do it outside of yourself and recognize it and then go, okay, I get this, and then do the work internally. Um, I've tried to do the internal work first, and it was way more difficult with people. They just didn't get the concept, right? So I will tell people, go sit in a public space, literally once a week, go sit for like 15, 20 minutes. If you can do 10 to 15, fine, so be it. Everybody that walks by you, find something positive about that person. Because I love people watching all the time,
Yeah.
right? But I'm also that person that's like, oh, your friends did not show you what you were wearing today before you walked out the door. You have amazing hair. Right? So you always find the gold. There's always gold in others, right? So then once you recognize that, you can actually internalize it and go, what about me is incredible? What about me is so amazing that the world would be saddened if I didn't have it anymore? I would be heartbroken if I didn't have it anymore. My friends, my family, my business, my personal relationships, what would they miss about me that I bring to the table to just make life better, right? Or incredible. And there's so much of that out there that we just don't see because nobody taught us to look for it. And sadly, nobody, even in our personal relationships, whether it's dating, marriage, living together, whatever the hell that looks like, right? There are a lot of men who do not recognize that in us.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
going through that with my significant other right now.
Yeah.
And we as women have to have our own voice and clearly and effectively communicate what we want, need, and desire, right? And even if it's something as simple as me going to a Mardi Gras ball over the weekend and you didn't say my dress looked beautiful.
Yeah.
You never even told me how sexy and amazing I looked. I walked out the door and you didn't acknowledge me.
Yeah.
That hurt my feelings, right? Having that authentic conversation with people, knowing that you look freaking amazing and the one person you love didn't even recognize it,
Mhm.
right? So it's that piece inside of us that we go, this is what makes me special, and this is what people should love and know about me and respect. And if they don't, then it's my job to go, why? Why are you not receiving? What's the disconnect here, and figure it out.
Yeah. It's so interesting because we live in a reality where there's so much focus on the external and then, or title or, all
Yep,
these toys that we can get instead of it's the experience of who we are, right? Like, if you're not here, there's an energy that is missing. There's, everything that you bring as a human being, so to speak, right? That has
absolutely.
nothing to do with the external. The external can enhance it, obviously, right?
Right.
But, yeah, it's very interesting. So, what's something that you can't live without?
Something I can't live without. My dogs. I can't live without my dogs. I have an English bulldog and I have a Schnauzer Pity Bull mix, and I just love them because they love me no matter what. It can be raining and the world can suck and everybody sucks and they still love me. And, or it's a fabulous day and they're super excited to I get home and walk in the door and they're like, Mom, so what happened in your day? And they just genuinely love you no matter what it is you do. So you can do no wrong in their eyes.
Absolutely. What would you say if you could give everyone around the world a message they would have to hear?
Mm, that's a good question. My message to anybody listening would be kind to yourself so that you can be gracious and compassionate to others.
Mm,
We, as a world right now, we are struggling so significantly, living in fear every single day, not knowing what the next day is going to bring. We're walking around everyone being self-centered, arrogant, selfish, and unaware of the people and what's going on around in their environment anymore, that we show no one compassion. And if we can show ourselves grace, then we have enough energy to be able to show others grace. And if we just showed one person a day grace and compassion, man, what a huge shift that would make with so many people in their lives.
Wow, that's great. That's awesome. What do you know for sure, to use Oprah's famous line?
What was your question? You cut out. I'm
What do you
sorry.
know for sure? What do you know for
Oh,
sure?
what do I know for sure? I know for sure we're all going to die at some point. Having said that, right? Life is short. Live it every day like it's the last one you have. I don't care who you are. Doesn't mean you have to go spend exorbitant amount of money, but live your life. If you have the money and you want to go have a steak dinner at a 5-course restaurant, go. If you've never done it, do it. You don't know when you're not going to be able to do that again. Live your life as if no one has ever done anything wrong to you. That's very hard. It's easier said than done. But take the time. When I just recently had a friend who I was visiting with, and every person that he interacts with, he genuinely is authentic. Who are you? What's your name? Even if it's the waiter or the waitress.
Mm.
Okay, Christina, how are you doing today? He sees a little old couple coming out of a restaurant, opens the door and says, okay, kids, you guys have a great evening and stay out of trouble, right? It's that positive energy that you're sharing with the world, you're sharing with each other, and you're genuinely invested in somebody, even if it's the only time you're going to meet them. It may be the last day you'll ever see them again, but you made a difference with every single person and everything you did throughout your day. And that, to me, that's hugely motivating for me. So I try to practice that as well.
That's awesome. Who inspires you to be better and why?
Oh, there are a lot of people who inspire me to be better that nobody would even know if I said their names. I have a couple of very close friends that the way they live their lives are very inspiring. Little pieces of what they do, I'm like, God, I suck at that. I want to do better. I want to be able to do that, right? So that's my challenge to grow. Oh, I don't even know. There really are no specific people who inspire me. It's more of, I see this person and what they have and what they're doing, and I go, I want to be like that. I don't necessarily want to be like them or be them, but I love what they're doing. I love how they live their life and the impacts they're making. And those are the key components that I pull in, and I'm like, okay, I want that puzzle piece, and I want that puzzle piece, and I want that one because I want my puzzle to be the best freaking puzzle that ever existed, right? So
That's awesome. And what's one thing that you've done recently that you would like to be acknowledged for?
Oh, let's see. I just started a new women in business organization with, I got 4 other women together. We were part of a women in business networking organization that kind of just fell by the wayside. And people kept coming to me going, what are we going to do? And I'm thinking, why the hell are you all coming to me? Like, I'm not in charge. I've only been in this group for 8 months. But I decided, screw it. You know what? This is a message from, Mr. Big Man upstairs, that step up, you're being called. So I met with a group of women that I pulled together and said, I think this would be a phenomenal thing. And we just literally kicked it off in December. And the biggest difference is, instead of it only being for women entrepreneurs, it's for any woman in business. I don't
Mm.
care if you have a 9 to 5 job. If you want to be around like-minded women and create a sisterhood where you can come and just go bleh and bare my soul because my life sucks, or you want to be mentored because you want to get out of that job and you want to have a business, right? Or if you're a business owner and you want to come in and have us as women business owners sit down and problem solve the things that have you stuck in your business, right? That was my vision behind starting this organization. So that's been huge. So now we have gals of Northwest Florida and Pensacola, and it's been hugely received, and we're super excited about it. So
That sounds like a lot of fun, I must say.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Kudos to you, big time,
Thank
for
you.
initiating that and taking on the leadership hats. I mean, that's just who you are. You just attract
Yeah.
that. You know, yeah, kudos to you for just taking the reins and doing whatever was asked for you to make it happen. And with that, creating this great community of women that have support and that can support
Yes.
each other, right? Which is important.
Exactly. Exactly.
What's something in your life that you're proud of?
I am very proud of being fearless and taking an opportunity to move down here 7 years ago so that I could have more time with my dad. My dad's relationship and mine were very strained after my parents got divorced when I was young.
Hmm.
And I was born here in Pensacola, and we moved out probably when I was 11. And in my 20s, I came back and reconnected with him. And I am my father's daughter. He is a four-tour Vietnam Marine, stubborn all day long. So it was really nice to be able to come back down here and spend time with him and reconnect with him before he passed, because it helped me realize a lot of things about myself that I knew were there, but I didn't know why they were there. Right. So that, putting aside the fear of God, I got to move, and is that going to work? And I'm opening a second office, and holy shit. Right. That, putting that aside and just taking a leap of faith and doing it because I knew it's what needed to be done, was probably the best decision I've ever made.
That's awesome. That's so inspiring. So, what are you doing when you're in a state of flow?
Um, when I'm in a state of flow, I generally attract other people who need it. It's really odd how that works. And it's generally business people, people who come to me and go, I want to do what you're doing. No, you don't want to do what I'm doing. What do you want to do? Right. I'm not a business coach by any means, but it is intriguing to see people that I attract that are struggling, that go, how are you? How did you become successful? How did you get from point A to point B? And almost intuitively, I know exactly what they need, and I can give them that piece of information. And they're like, oh my God, like that you don't even realize what that just solved for me. So I'm very blessed to have that capability to be able to help others like that.
Awesome. What are three words that you would hope that other people will describe you, use to describe you?
Mm, I would say the first one is a leader,
Mm.
because that comes very natural to me. It's been that way since I was a child. I would also think a really good word would be authentic, because I'm always genuine and authentic. You may not like it, right? But I'm always very transparent with people. And some people, that puts them off because I am the unfiltered person. Out of all my friends, I'm the unfiltered one. But people know that, and they respect that about me because they always know where they stand. So that's that authentic energy that I bring. And I would say the last one is I'm a badass. We joke, I'm gonna have a crown made, and I'm gonna have a sash that says Queen of the Badasses. Because my friends always tell me, God, you're such a badass. I want to be like you. You can. You don't need to be me, but everybody has their own inner badass,
Yeah,
right? You just
yeah.
have to find it, embrace it, cultivate it, and grow her and love her and have nothing but gratitude for her. I know the term for everybody is queen. I am not a queen. I am queen of the badasses because I'm a badass. There's a difference. So I always tell people, I get guys every once in a while, oh, I would love to have you. I'd treat you like a queen. Honey, I don't need to be treated like a queen. I'm a badass. I don't need all that.
That is all, yeah, because it's also like different energies to that as well,
It
right? Queen
totally
versus
is.
badass is
Yeah,
completely different energies.
100%.
So if you could ask one person any question, who and what would you ask?
Oh, one person, any question. Let's see, who would that be? I would ask my father, if I could ask anybody, I would ask my father what made him the proudest about me.
Aw.
I would, because that to me would just be incredible insight.
So that's awesome, Tammy. So before we go, where can people find you?
Well, let's see. I am on Facebook, so you can easily find me. I'm Tami Sparks, Tami, Sparks like a spark plug with an S on the end. Believe it or not, I have my own sparky little sense of humor. And then I'm also over on Instagram, believe it or not. So I have a personal page, but I also have my Tami Sparks Life Coach page. So you're probably going to find more stuff on that one. So I'd recommend going there.
Awesome. So thank you very much for taking time. It was great chatting with you, Tammy. So thanks again and have an awesome day. Badass
Thank you.
Tammy. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.